All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bible Hangout. I am Reverend Terry James, and I am the senior minister of church, and this is our Thursday night Bible study. And I am over the moon to be here. I have my friend, my colleague, Pastor Greg Stanford, who co-founded and co-pastors Celebration Spiritual Center in Brooklyn, New York. We are continuing our conversation tonight for the mental equivalent. And what we've been doing over these last couple of weeks is working with thought leaders in New Thought to work on practical application of these principles. And so tonight we're drilling down on part 2 of the mental equivalent. I have a couple of announcements, and I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Greg. I'm going to mute everybody so that and you'll be able to unmute yourself. All right, there we go. And Greg, I will unmute you. I will try. You might have to unmute yourself. Okay. Okay, good. All right. So everyone else, please just be mindful. I don't mind anybody being having their background. Your mic unmuted. Just be mindful of your background noise, just so that it helps with the conversation. But I have a couple of announcements. So the first thing is that Lent is on its way, and we do Lent big. Like, Lent is turning into like our second Christmas. It is a really big deal at Up Church. And so this year we're doing Key to Yourself. And so it is about unlocking the treasure inside of you. And so these are our beautiful Lent kits. Look how awesome they look. And so let me show you a little bit of what's in there, because I want you to be a part of this. So the kits are $50 until Sunday, and then the price goes up. If we're shipping to you, because you are able to participate long distance, we do a teleclass every morning, so for 46 days starting March 6th. And then on the Sundays, we upload the video of the sermons and all of that, so you'll have that. So your Lent kit comes with the book Key to Yourself by Venice Bloodworth. One thing. You get this beautiful journal. Isn't that journal nice? So nice. And then there are these great bookmarks, Unlock Your Treasure, Order, Love, Wealth, Health, Power, and Purpose. Love that. And so we will be doing this keying ourselves all the way to Easter. And then you get this amazing bracelet that says, I've got the key. And on the inside, it's embossed and it says, Unlock My Treasure. And then this is the Lent kit. So this is what you will follow along with. It has all of the daily exercises and things that we do. It is one of our most exciting things. This Lent things came about out of necessity. So when we were going through seminary, we had like a short period of time to teach a whole lot of stuff. We had so many classes that we had to complete for our practicum. And Reverend Cherie came up with this idea, I'm going to do a 40-day class, because all of our classes are accredited with the Universal Foundation for Better Living. And so they're all 20 hours, 20 classroom hours. And so there wasn't enough time to get all of that done in the amount of time that basically Reverend Mary had given us to get it done. And so we were like, listen, we're graduating. We're not taking 3 years to get these ministerial licenses. We are rocking and rolling. And so Reverend Cherie came up with this idea, let's do a 40-day daily class. And so Lent was the first class that she offered. I think the text was Keep a True Lent. But it sparked something, and it probably is our most powerful series at Up Church. It's a really, really big deal. So the kits are $50 until Sunday, and then the price goes up, and I don't know what the new price is. Reverend Cherie, if you're on, let me know what the new price is. And then the Bible Hangout. So I never miss a Bible Hangout. Y'all know Thursdays, this is what I do on Thursdays. Unless it's the holidays, and I do take off during the holidays. Howsoever, Tony Robbins is coming to Los Angeles, and I will be there. Okay. And so on March 14th, for the first time in like 6 years, we will not have a Bible Hangout. I'm certain that I'm going to broadcast live from Unleash the Power Within, but there's no way to formally do a Bible Hangout. So we will take a break on Thursday, March 14th, but then when we come back, We close out this co-teaching series with my brother, the Reverend Galen McDowell from Christ Universal Temple. And last thing, we have a number of people that are doing continuing education units for UFBL and for Unity through the Bible Hangout. If you're one of those people, please let me know, because I need to track you, and you also have an assignment that is part of your completion for the class. So if you are using this series that we're doing on the mental equivalent as part of your continuing education unit that you need to secure, you need to let me know. Please send me a private message, and we will get all of that squared away. So I want to make sure I'm tracking everybody. I don't only know one person specifically out of Baltimore, but if there are other people, please let me know. Okay, with that, Pastor Greg, I'm going to turn it over to you for opening prayer.
All right.
We'll get started.
All right. Well, let us all just take a deep breath in right here and right now, wherever you are. We take a deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouths, grounding ourselves into this space and releasing all that is unwanted. As we breathe in and we breathe out, we let go of all of our agendas. We let go of the to-do lists. We let go of everything that has taken place before this moment, and we are here now. As we are here now, we are here now in you, Mother, Father, God, recognizing that you are all that there is. You are all the love, all the power, all the peace, all the joy, all the ease that is. And we are here in you. For I recognize that we are one with you. What you are in the large, God, we are in the small. And as I recognize the power, possibility, and capabilities that we have from this knowing, I now allow all of that knowing to permeate our time together tonight. Right here and right now, I am knowing that we will open up doors. We will open up doors in our minds and open up doors in our hearts. Right here and right now, I know that each and every one of us will leave here differently than when we came in. Right here and right now, I know that we all will receive exactly what we have come to receive, knowing that we will move through this time together empowered, enlightened, and ready to create the world and the life that we desire. So it is with much joy and thanksgiving that I release this prayer. I release this prayer back into the law, knowing that it is always in operation, operating for our good. And together we say, Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so tonight, we're on part 2 of the mental equivalent, and this part of the mental equivalent focuses on universal polarity, is that everything requires two things. Mm-hmm. Everything in the universe is always made by two things. You need a male and a female. That doesn't necessarily mean gender, but you need a male and a female that produces a third thing. You don't get a manifestation without those two poles.
Absolutely.
So the same is true with thought, or with manifestation of things, that you need thought and you need feeling. So that's what we're going to drill down tonight. And I want to start with clarity of thought. Now, this is an open discussion. I'm going to be watching the chat. So if you have questions, please ask those questions. If you want to jump into the conversation, jump into the conversation. This is very, very open for everyone. I want this to be a very interactive session, as this is the purpose of these sessions this way, doing it this way. All right, I didn't mean to close that down just that fast. I want to start first with the importance of clarity. Like, how important is clear thought? And I'll throw that to you, Greg, and then we'll kind of go from there. How important is clear thought?
Well, clear thought is everything, right? And we could probably talk about it. We can call it clear thought. We can call it focused thought. So often we're walking through life with a lot of different desires, a lot of things that we want. But of course, we're really broadcasting a lot of mixed messages. And so our life, actually, our pictures, mixed and messy, right? So so this is why clear thought is so important. And another way to think about it is, the simplicity of thought, right? Because I think so often, we try to, and Emmet Fox talks about this a little later in terms of specificity, but we discount the simplicity of thought. We discount the power of a simple idea, and we try to, add all these things to it, where, wanting a home, right? You can just want a home and think about, I call it the thing under the thing, right? Think about what would that home provide for you, right? The comfort, the being able to entertain and have wonderful holidays, right? And so it's the simplicity of the idea. We go into all these other, things, and we add all this other stuff to it, and then we talk to somebody else about it, and they tell us what we should have in our house. Then we start adding that, and then we've scattered thinking. So the clarity of thought is also really about the simplicity of the thought.
I think that's powerful. Yeah. So what happens if I don't get clear? Like, am I just like in trouble? Like, if I don't get clear, am I like damned to hell?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And here, here's why. Because life is a conversation, so we're always getting the feedback of what we're thinking, right? We're always seeing on the screen of life the tape or the film that we put in, right? So we won't be in trouble, and life is not punitive, but cause and effect is real, right? So there will always be an effect of our thought. But
what if I don't believe that I'm the cause of some of the things that I'm being affected by? Like, because don't we run into this, right, in our centers where there's a couple scenarios that come to mind where it's like, I know I'm not responsible for that. Like, I'll take the good stuff and I'll take like half of the bad stuff, but at least a good 50 of that bad stuff is not mine. That's
right. Right. Okay. Well, and right, this happens so often. Now, one, I like to come to the a simplistic way to look at this, to just acknowledge that thought creates things. And one example that I like to use is if you're watching a movie or you're watching a television show, and if it's a scary movie or suspenseful, based on what we're watching, we have an experience. Something actually happens in our body, right? Sometimes your stomach can be in knots. You might find yourself holding your breath. You're having a response based on a thought. That thought creates a physical reaction and a physical response. And yet we know it's not real, right? We're talking about a television program. We know that it's actors. We know, right? So I love that example because it reminds us how powerful thought really is. Now, for us as metaphysicians, one thing that we have to just really understand is that the law works both ways, right? We cannot, celebrate, dance, and praise around the good and the, so I talk to people often, we want to say, I manifested that, but we don't say that when the breakup comes. We didn't manifest that.
I didn't manifest that. I didn't manifest that broken heart.
Exactly. But the metaphysician, really owns that and understands it. Now here, and we got to say this for so many reasons, but we are not always conscious of the ways and the reasons why and how we created the things that were unwanted, right? Yeah. Most of the time we're not, because we have, 5% of our brain is our conscious mind. 95% are the subconscious programs that are running, right? But thank God for the mirror of life, because the mirror is showing us what's going on. If you look in the mirror and your makeup is messed up, you're grateful for that mirror because it's showing you what you can do, right? Now, what we understand about life is if you look in the mirror and you need to adjust your makeup, you don't start adjusting the mirror, right? You go to the source.
Come on, Greg. Right? Come on. Okay, I like this. Yes. Andrea Graham had a comment. She says, awareness is the key. Once we are aware, we can pay attention to and examine our manifestations, wanted or unwanted, to determine what the experience came to teach us.
Absolutely.
So first of all, that example is going to show up in a sermon too. But I love that because you're right. If the makeup is jacked, I don't go start trying to fix the mirror. I fix where it's coming from.
Exactly.
Right. And so life is just that mirror.
Yes.
And so many of us are trying to fix the makeup on the mirror.
Absolutely.
As opposed to just start over, just wash. Wash your face.
Right.
Wash your face and begin again. You messed up that eyebrow. Start over.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. And this is why we our fundamental understanding of a loving God, right? Unconditionally loving, right? Because that's the other piece. One of the reasons why we don't want to accept it is because in those moments, particularly for those who learn, an old way of thinking that God is judging us or punishing us or testing us, God knows I lived through that and believed that for many years. When the bad happened, when the unwanted happened, it was like, oh, yeah, God's getting me because I didn't do X, Y, Z. So that's what's helpful to have that foundation, because then we can look at the mirror of life and say, okay, this is not a judgment upon me, but this is the effect of a cause. And now I get to look at that because I recognize that life isn't fixed. Every cause can be transmuted. Thank God.
Thank God. Sidney King says, breathe new meaning to the expression, fix your face.
I like that.
Yes. Okay, so here's a question I have for you. How do I know? Because, let's say I look in the mirror and there's a lot of things happening in my face, right? Maybe, there's a lot of things happening. Maybe the eyebrow is messed up. Maybe my eyes are red. Maybe I've got a little mucus. The hair is jacked. Like, it could be a lot of things, right?
Oh yeah.
How do I know what to choose? Because it feels like there's like so much stuff that's to fix. Yeah. Like, how do I know where to start?
Okay.
I love this analogy. I'm telling you,
this is good. This is good.
It's coming to a sermon near you.
Well, this reminds me of, I was in a moment in my life where things felt really, really messed up. Right, I was going through a divorce. I had been in a previous relationship that had ended badly. Financially, things just weren't looking good. It was like I had a good job, making good money, but it wasn't hanging around, right? And I didn't feel prosperous.
Yes, we need our money to hang around.
Right.
Yes.
And when I go back now and I look at pictures of myself, I don't look like myself. I don't look happy. I don't look joyous. And things weren't really good. Ultimately, I ended up in a class, a prosperity class. And, I went there thinking that I know the stuff I want, and, I want more money, and I want to leave this job, and I want to do this, that, and the other. And I wanted to release my album at the time. And what ultimately came to me, source was so clear in my spirit, said, Greg, you can have everything that you want, but until you forgive.
Oh, shut up.
Right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
You can't have any of those things, right? And so, where do we start, right? What's standing in the way, right? When we're in that place, and God knows we've all been in that place, or we get to that place where it's just everything is messed up. There's some forgiveness work that has to be done, right?
Right.
And the F word, I'm saying, there's some healing that needs to be done. And it's forgiveness of self, and also for myself. I was holding on to a lot of anger and a lot of story, and I had to forgive my ex-wife, and move through that process, which was beautiful, and I'm so grateful for it. And everything I said I wanted, I received. It all came easily and effortlessly. But that's the first thing. Now, the other piece with that I've seen in so many folks that we've worked with is it goes back to this other point about what is your concept of God, right?
Yeah.
Because, I think it's Einstein who asked that question. We have to decide,
yes.
a friendly universe, right? Because if God is friendly, then your life is going to outpicture in a certain way if you believe that. Generally.
So can I press in on that for a second?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to press in because I literally just had this conversation So this is personal.
Oh, wow.
So I literally had this conversation. I said, you've got to deal with your concept of God. And I think that many people believe that their concept of God is God.
Right.
And I guess maybe this is a question, because I know these people are walking in our centers.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get people to back off of the idea that how they think about God is God? Like even just to even just to say concept of God sounds like, oh, you talking that craziness.
Right. Well, it's something I say all the time. I say, the sum total of what we believe to be true individually is our God, which is why everybody has a different God, which is why we have all different strains of Christianity and different strains of Judaism and Islam, Buddhism, and on and on and on. Because the sum total of what I believe, that's God, right? That's my God. And part of it, I think, is I'm such a big fan of repetition, in the sense of you got to hang out with these ideas for a while. And I think for so many people, you come to New Thought, you hear this stuff, part of it feels good and sounds good. And of course the prosperity and all of that. But then there's kind of this thing that you're not really sure if you can accept. And I think we all come to that moment of that kind of line where you choose to cross that line. So I think it's part of it is through the repetition, through hanging out with these ideas, right? And just having a little bit of willingness, right? Being curious, realizing you can always go back to the old thing if you want. Right? Go back to that whenever you want.
Right.
But experiment. In my theology professor in seminary, he would always say this, he said, God is reasonable. We read in scripture, oh, taste and see, right? Come, let us reason together. There's this idea of like, just let's experiment, try it out. You might not like, I'm so into these oranges this season. Cara oranges. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Oh my God, it's the best orange on the planet right now. In my mind.
Is this a New York thing? Like,
no, they've been around for a long time. My first time having them was this season.
Okay.
But you might not like Cara oranges, but if I had a Cara, I would say, hey, try it out. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul, right?
Right.
And so God is really reasonable in the same way, right? Which is why we hear those words in scripture. Try it out, and hang out with the ideas. I think that's really, we have to kind of hold that posture with it, because it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, in the beginning, for me, growing up in the Pentecostal church, there was, it was difficult to let go of that concept.
Right. We have a couple of questions I don't want to miss. Cayenne had a question. She said, I had a question about having clarity and keeping your focus when others around you are speaking things not in alignment with what you believe and are practicing. And she said, I just got the answer. Forgive them.
Yes.
Forgive them, because they don't know what they're misusing their power of thought and their power of speech. Kanisha says, I challenge myself to call God George and Dolores just so I can shake up my own previous God concept. And Andrea says, know who you are and release all that does not honor the splendor that you are. Okay. Cayenne says, speaking all the things they don't want to happen in their lives. Hope I said that right. That's how she wrote it. Okay, now Valerie Anukum says, daily spiritual practice is not an option, particularly when it comes to holding a focused thought. Through meditation, we know God. Val, you got to tell me what you mean when you said daily spiritual practice is not an option. Do you mean it's not optional?
That's one of our, that's our 7th guiding principle at CSC.
Okay, tell me, explain that then.
So daily spiritual practice is not an option. We of course we have to have a consistent discipline practice that we come and connect to God. We teach a very simple formula of 5, 5, and 5. 5 minutes of reading truth or something inspirational, 5 minutes of journaling, and 5 minutes of meditation or sitting in the silence. Part of that is what helps to develop clear thinking,
Absolutely.
and also maintains focused thought. So shout out to you. Yeah.
So yeah, so saying that it's not an option, meaning that you have to do it.
You have to do it. Yeah.
Got
And
it.
I just
Okay, got it.
yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, no, I was just clarifying.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not optional, right? It's like brushing your teeth. Don't come out the house with funky breath. Don't come out the house with a funky mind. Got it. Okay.
Exactly. Yes,
Now,
I like that.
yeah. Then Nas says, "Isn't there ultimately one true God, or essentially one source?"
Yes, that is true. Ultimately, yes, absolutely. That's true. Ultimately, and we are the individualized expressions of the one. But here in this plane, in this realm, right? Because God is substance, right? God is not a thing, right?
Right.
This is so much fun. But when we understand that, right? God, I always say God is like Play-Doh, right?
Yeah.
This thing,
It's a Johnny Coleman reference. Go ahead.
it can become anything, right? And it fits the mold that we give it, which is our belief. So really the molds that we're creating through our belief is our God individually. The substance fills that always, without question, and without judgment, which is why even when we create molds of things that don't serve us, they're filled.
Right. So I got a couple things because I want to touch on this. So John Bird, he asked the question, where can this be had afterwards? We're going to have it up on Facebook. And Greg, I'll give you a link so that if you want to download it and
awesome.
repopulate it, you'll be able to do that.
People that already asked me, so thank you.
And John said, Nas, yes, but one can't be sure if our concept of God is the correct concept. And so I just want to jump in here to say that God is an ever unfolding principle, meaning that it has no end. So no concept is ever going to contain all of what God is. Because the moment you reach the edge of what you know, there's something more to know. So I'm kind of pushing back on that word correct, because God is ever unfolding. So if correct would only be that what I know today, I'm not locking myself into.
That's awesome. I agree.
BK says, Kwame here, God is reasonable, done. Okay. Reverend Cherie says, love to you and Yolanda, Greg. Valerie says, a way to hang out with these ideas and internalize them. Andrea Graham says, daily spiritual practice is our spiritual food. Sydney King says, well, you have to do it or you're going to see the results. Just take a day or two of backslide and see all sorts of mess. Okay.
Oh, that word. Oh, Lord. We don't use that word anymore.
Right. So I want to go to an activity, and I want to brainstorm because what we want to take you through is a very practical exercise of getting clear and generating interest. Clear and generating interest. So I'm gonna play one of Pastor Greg's songs with his permission, and I'm saying that for YouTube. This is an original. And in that time, what I wanted to ask you to do, so one, I guess I should have started by saying, you have a paper, but listen, do it on your phone if you can. And I'm going to share one of his videos. And in this 4 minutes, what I want you to write down, I'd like you to at least try to get to 25, but I want you to write down like your top goal. I really want top 25, but it's 4 minutes and you may need a little bit more time. But what I want is write down your top 25 goals. What are your top 25 goals? And so I'm going to play the music, trusting that y'all will be able to hear it. If not, I'll have to take out my headphones. Y'all will let me know if y'all can hear this. So you tell me, can you hear that? No.
Not yet.
Not. Okay, I'm going to take my headphones out. All right. So we have, but you do see the screen though. One with you.
Yeah, we see the screen. Yeah,
okay. All right. Top 25 goals. Top 25 goals. This song is so dope.
Awesome. Thank you.
I
We
love
got to do
that.
that one again.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That is beautiful. Sydney says, I love this album. It made the Marie Kondo cut. I love that. I love that. What does that mean? It made Marie Kondo cut. Oh, yeah, whatever sparks joy. Got it. Got it. Mia says, big yes, yes, one of my favorites. I felt so good to sing along. Yes. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm going to connect you with Rico. We might have to feature that song at Up Church one Sunday.
Awesome. Of course. It's done.
Yeah. So I want to get a couple of people to chime in. Anybody want to share any one of their top 25? I'll tell you one of mine. I want to eradicate or meaningfully reduce single-use plastic from the atmosphere. And I never became present to how much single-use plastic we use until I was sending sandwich bag after sandwich bag to school with Jordan. Like, everything is in a separate little baggie, which is cute, except that like my carbon footprint is a hot mess. And then I just read some article in either the New York Times or BuzzFeed or one of them where in the Mariana Trench they tested for plastics in like animals that are like on the bottom. Like the Mariana Trench is like one of the deepest places in our ocean, and
Mm-hmm.
the shellfish down there tested positive for plastic contamination.
Right. Right.
So that's on my cause list.
Yeah.
What's one of my top 25? Like, don't want to leave
Yeah.
the planet without that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody? Phyllis says learn how to cook. All right, all right.
Awesome. Awesome.
Alita says I save food in glass. Yes,
Love
yes, 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 yes.
it. Yeah.
Phyllis says top one, living for my Christ consciousness, and Joe says create edible landscapes for low income homes.
Beautiful.
Edible landscapes. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God!
Yeah,
Yes,
that's powerful. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Sustainable, sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? And you guys can unmute yourselves. I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh yes, there's a lot of
It's
good
a
ones
stand
out
and mute. Yvonne says become an EFT expert. Olga
there.
says debt free to be community banker to support a nonprofit. Mia says plant trees in Cameroon where my family's from. Nas says to design and develop affordable housing for residents on the south side of Chicago.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and Alita says I want to find out why I'm really here. Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. All right, all right. I won't call you out because you send it privately. Create hit new movies. I want my art to support me. Gabby, Kanisha finished the radical forgiveness worksheet that Pastor Greg gave.
I love it.
And yes, and meditate consistently for 15 minutes, like my Rev Diva suggested numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Sharita has transformed single parent relationship dynamics, creating healthy, loving environments where everyone thrives. Yes,
Beautiful.
yes, yes, yes. And Yvonne says, I'm also there with Gabby with the art. Yeah, in fact, this is one of the pieces that Yvonne gave me. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes,
This is
it is.
Yvonne Evans in Sacramento. That's one of her art pieces. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. So, yes, I see your art supporting you too. Okay, great. So we got our top 25. So I want to drill down now on interest, and so I'll start with a couple of questions for you,
Yeah.
Greg, and then we'll kind of open the conversation up
Okay.
with that. Can you explain what is feeling when it comes to thinking and feeling? Like, what is he talking about as far as think? Like, what does he mean by feeling? Meaning,
Right.
I'm speaking of Emmet Fox in this.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
I love how he talks about this, and I think it's something that we can get confused with, because with feeling, we generally think we have to be like over the moon, excited, like, oh my God, like that's the level of feeling that it needs to be at initially. And that's not true, right? And so he uses a beautiful word. He says, we have to get interested in the idea. Oh my goodness. I love that. That just brings it way down, right? And it brings us down to the inception of an idea, right? No matter how good an idea is. And, I always say we're God's good idea. And I say that because I think about what happens with a good idea. I'll get a thought, it'll feel good, and then I'd sit with it. Then I start smiling. And then, and over it may be weeks before I get like, oh my God, I'm so excited. But it's the interest. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. And that's what the feeling is. And so then when I think about that, what that's really inviting us is just our attention, right? So when we get thinking about if there's something that we want to do in our career, or I saw someone talk about wanting to multiply the generational wealth of their family, just turning your attention to what the possibilities are, right? There's a wonderful book that I read last year called Sudden Money, which is all about any type of mass amount of money that you receive, whether it's lottery or through an inheritance, et cetera. What are the things you need to be doing, and what are the accounts you need to set up, the team that you need to set up to manage that amount of money, right? So just getting interested in the idea, taking a book like that and reading to think about and see what are the kinds of things that I need to be thinking about? What are the types of people that I need to engage to support me in as I'm building generational wealth, also managing that wealth, and So with that, we're just turning our attention to the idea, getting curious, developing our interest. And then what's interesting is that it's just like the seed breaking open and starting to create the roots that then will support the massive growth of that plant or that tree as it starts to form. So that's why I love that. The feeling is about interest and attention. That's really what it is. That frees a whole lot of people.
So then how do I generate that interest? Is it, or maybe what I'm asking is, so you know how sometimes there are things that are train wrecks that you just can't take your eyes away from. It has your attention, and you can do your best, but it has your attention. So how do I generate interest for what I do want?
Well, this is good, right? So Emmett Fox talks about replacing the thought. And, this is where denials and affirmations are so beautiful, right? And it's important because so often many people use denials and they're just deny, right? Now, nature abhors a vacuum. So if we deny, we've created space. Now we must affirm. You got to put something in that empty space. Otherwise, we're just leaving room for that denial to still be the truth, right? So I love denials and affirmations as a tool that we can use in that moment, which is important. I was reading the text, and I was thinking about there's a Donald Lawrence song, gospel song, and he does this so effectively, where he goes through this moment in the song, and they're like, the choir's like, I am not, and the leader's like, I am not in lack, I am not in debt, I am not. But then the music changes, and then she says, this is what I am. And then she says, I am, right? I'm a lender and not a borrower. I am, right? And I love that about him. And we talk about this from time to time, but he's perfectly using the principle, right? So many people just deny and never affirm after it. The tools go together. It's not one or the other, right? Or sometimes what people do, they try to affirm, I am prosperous, I am wonderful, I am worthy. Meanwhile, you need to deny some things first.
You got some cobwebs you need to sweep out of your life.
Exactly.
Yes. So one of the things he said in the text that I thought was powerful is that you can't think about your mistakes and you can't think about the mistakes of others.
Yes.
And
yeah,
I hear you, Emmett. But aren't I just being realistic to be aware of my mistakes and just to, being aware of other people's mistakes is kind of like closes the door to them coming back into your life, creating more chaos. So how am I supposed to just like forget it all, as he says?
Right. Well, the first thing is you got to give yourself permission to be unrealistic, right? And that's okay, right? But the thing is, and this, we're metaphysicians, right? We're talking from this place, right? And this is where we mature in this process, where we come to this place of really understanding the power just of our attention, right? Just the power of our interest. Right, what that does. I mean, I spent time watching Michael Cohen yesterday on C-SPAN, right?
Right.
But, that wasn't truly beneficial for me. I know what happens when I just place my attention on it, well-intentioned attention.
Right.
But yet I recognize that puts me down in a spiral. I'm going to start thinking things about my brothers and sisters in Congress that are not loving. Right. All of a sudden, I'm othering my brothers and sisters. All of a sudden, I want to call them everything but a child of God. Right. All these things start to happen because I put my attention somewhere.
Right.
Right. So this is why we become vigilant. Right.
Yes.
And really just I think it's Willis Kinnear. I quote him a lot in the 30-Day Mental Diet. He says, I stand guard at the gateway of my mind.
Yeah.
We have to live in that place for that reason. But again, as I say, God is reasonable and allows us to experiment. Yeah. You don't know that until you run out there and scrape your knee. You know?
Right. So Reverend Dudley said, as soon as you gotta scrape your butt, your lower posterior across the pavement.
Right. You know, and that's the gift that we're given in being able to experiment. And sometimes, you know, for some of us, it takes longer than others. All of us in different ways, it does.
Right. The next thing I want to do, I want to move to, I want to make sure I miss any questions. Nas commented on what you said, Alita, which is that you were saying I want to understand my purpose. And Nas was repeating something from you, Pastor Greg.
Yeah.
Pastor Greg teaches us that we are here to love and to be a beneficial presence on the planet.
Right.
And then Gabby says, I think with awareness comes judgment, meaning if you focus on the mistake, it keeps you there.
Yeah.
And then Valerie Anukum says, the T tool has been helpful for me in shifting attention. It allows us to go through the necessary step of writing out all the old story or train wreck, then immediately wedding what I do want, then focus my attention on my new creation. So what is the T tool?
So the law of attraction T tool is very simple. I don't have a piece of paper in front of me, but what you can do, you take a piece of paper, draw a line at the top, a line down the middle, creating a T. On one side, you write what I do want, right? On the other side, you write what I don't want. And so when we're in a situation, let's just say you had a bad date, right? We had a conversation in class tonight. Somebody ghosted you, right? Okay, so you're very clear about what you don't want, and you can start to write down. You know, I don't want to, date anyone that doesn't call or doesn't plan properly, right? And you just start to go in your emotions and just let it all out, right? What that does is that creates the very clarity that you need, because what you want is the opposite of that experience. So on the other side, what I do want, now you take that and you write down, these are the things that I want, the opposite of those. I want someone who is courteous. I want someone who respects my time, right? And then from there, that's now where your interest is. That's where you put your focus and attention. We've taken our interest off of this other side. We keep it there. And then you can rewrite those every day. You can reread those every day. But now you're focusing your attention on what it is that you want. That's where you're putting your interest. And of course, that'll grow.
Excellent. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. No, listen, man. I don't reinvent the wheel.
No.
I take the innovations God gives, but I also recognize that God uses other people too.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Coming to a class near you soon, okay? Nara says, Pastor Greg, I so agree. Watching the Cohen hearings put me in such a funky place vibrationally, but I'm grateful that I had the awareness to tune out as I found myself becoming too anxious.
Oh yeah, it was very easy.
Yes. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I want to nail this down. What I want you to do, because you guys have your list that you made from the top, and we're going to go into breakout sessions. And what I want you to do is I want you to choose your top 5. You may not have gotten to 25. Hopefully you got past 5. They'll those your top 5. But I want you to choose your top 5. Like if 25 is good, but if you could only do 5, what would those 5 be? So I'm going to give some time to everyone. Oh, hang on, wait, Cayenne has a question. She says, how do you keep your focus in the company of others who are in opposition or speaking an old story without feeling like you're being a teacher or a coach? Or is a leadership position almost inevitable along this journey that we're on?
Well, here's a question. Are you their coach or are you their teacher? In other words, have they agreed to that relationship? And if this is, if you're just with family or whatever, you're not their coach and you're not their teacher. You're their family member. You're there to love them. And the thing is, if they ask you a question, that's where Spirit has now created the opening for you to share. But otherwise, what you're doing is you're out of your business, right? There's your business, there's God's business, and there's their business. And you only have to manage your business.
You might be related to Reverend Cherie. Her whole thing is mind your spiritual business. Mind your
That's
business.
real. That's
Right?
real.
Mind your
That's
business.
real. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
You know.
Part of the question that she asked too, I have a thought on. She said, or is a leadership position almost inevitable along this journey that we're on? I actually believe the answer to that is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually believe that all of us are leaders, and that we're
Absolutely.
we're leaders in our area of gifting.
Yes.
That because there's always some soul coming behind you that you are just maybe a few steps ahead of as far as like your development, meaning
Yes.
in music, right? There's
Yeah.
always somebody that's a little bit further along than you are.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make them more gifted. It
No.
just makes them more developed in their gift.
Yes.
And so I believe that we get this to give it and that we learn it to teach it. And so I think yes to the answer.
Yes.
Cherie wrote MYB, mind your business.
That should be a t-shirt. That should be a
Yeah.
t-shirt. Just saying.
All right. Valerie says, Cayenne, I've learned to silently say to myself, that may be true for some, but it's not true for me. Constance says, I always state that does not go on in my world. And I allow others to be where they are. Yes. Okay, excellent. So the discussion that I want you guys to have in the breakout room, we're only going to take 5 minutes because I knew this was going to happen. We're at 7:55. But I want you to just take 5 minutes and choose your top 5. You can't just choose your top 5. Okay, now let me make these breakout rooms. Hold on. Okay. All right, great. Well, so it's going to automatically slot us. And so what's going to happen is that you guys are going to get a little notice that says join breakout room, and you click join. It's going to automatically slot you in the room. There are going to be 6 people in each room. And what I want you to talk about is what are your top 5? And I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. Now, here's the thing. I'm still learning this technology. So the 5 minutes when it's up is going to bounce you back into the main room. So just be aware of that, because I know that you might be like in the middle of a sentence, and I'm not trying to be rude, but the timer will be set for 5 minutes. All right, let's go. All right, open all rooms. Where am I going? It should have given you an invitation to join.
Okay.
I'm gonna join. I'm gonna let you go to room 1, Greg. I'm gonna go to here. All right. Hi there.
How are you?
So, what are your top 5? Like, where are you at? So, I wrote a bunch of stuff that was like highly materialistic, and then I was like, okay, you gotta get at least one goal on this, Sherry. That's not like, I want a private plane, I want a Tesla. So, what were you guys' top 5?
As I said, I want to live from my Christ conscious self. But I've started my health coaching, and so I'm focused right now is that the present. So I have this. We had the orientation, so we haven't actually started the course, but then they gave us how we should at the end of the year what our goals are. So this is just lining up now to get me prepared for that as we go into it. So it's like how many closing the deal conversations I will have, or what my at the end of the year, how much money I would want to be making, and how many clients I have to get to that point.
Right.
So those are the things that I will be focusing on for the next 12 months. So
you guys keep going. I'm gonna hop over. Reverend Cherie just asked me for some help in room 3. So keep going, and I'll be right back.
Foundation and faith, and to be that master manifester. I'll share 3. Those are 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Reverend Cherie. Oh, she's muted. You know what? You've gotta log in. It may be the way that you're dialed in. Who's muted? Maybe I'll go here. Unmute all. Okay. Cherie, you're not dialed into the sound. Everybody else is unmuted. Okay. Okay. I don't know what to do for you, Cherie. You got to join the sound. Oh, okay. You may have to type yours then. All right. Let me go check on the other breakout room. Okay, breakout room 1.
Look like, but ultimately I want to create a joyful life experience for myself and others.
Awesome. I love it. I think I have my 5. I didn't write out too many, but the ones that are at the top of my list are, we're doing an album, Soul 21. We're recording our album.
My 5 sons on, assist my 5 sons on the clarity of their next steps in life.
All right.
Those are my 5.
Ashe, Miss Keisha.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Yvonne.
Hello, Miss Yvonne.
Hi.
My top 5: to have my own wellness business,
Yeah.
to have a loving and successful marriage, become masterful at tapping or EFT, and become a phenomenal artist spiritually and financially, and to live somewhere out of the U.S. for a time being.
All right.
Oh,
Ashe.
Yes. Same.
Is that everybody?
Now, Miss Nisi.
I am. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, it's kind of like a top 5 in one because there are multiple things, but really, you know how the acronym for money is my own energy yield, and I'm finally like, so
that's the sentiment right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want that too.
Yes, I understand that. So they can see that you definitely, like, we have to walk it, I guess. Almost.
Exactly.
And if they, can see you walking, then they want to be able to talk to you.
Exactly. Yeah, I want that too,
Yes. Yeah. So another one that
But I think you can take that same ideology into the relationship. Just instead of looking at, like you say, in the mirror and see all the things that's wrong, if you just be yourself, that person will magically appear.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to put my ebook together and all the body parts that we want to get rid of. Yeah, so the next one I want to work with is with my 81-year-old mom who has some health issues, but then she's from the Pentecostal thing, and then she will be there focusing on casting out the devil and God knows what. And I have to try getting her now into a relationship with herself, knowing that her thoughts are creating some of these issues in her, so if she can release and let go and have peace within her, then her body is going to start stabilizing. But if she's continually in upheaval with her health and is not at peace, then she's not going to get the benefit. So anyway, she's away for the winter. So when she comes back in May, I have to work on her. Because she told me, I am not your patient. So I had to step back. But then I'm gradually moving forward with building that relationship, because I didn't really have a relationship with her because I'm here for 30-something years and she was back in Jamaica. So now that she comes, it's like, how do I bond with her again? I'm not a child anymore. She's seeing me as her little baby or her firstborn, where, she always dressed up in beautiful clothes. But then when you start to talk to her as an adult, she's not responding in that way. She's seeing herself as a mother and you as a child. But then she doesn't realize that the role, it has been reversed. I have to be working on that. So that's my, I think, number 3. And what I want to do is,
can I jump in here just for 1 second, because we're right at the I'm about to close the room. Is there anybody else? We're at the time. Did everybody else get to? Where
I did mine.
Okay, great. Mimi and Joe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you got to.
Okay, well, I have one. Know my purpose.
Okay.
Why am I here? Type thing. Have a relationship with my niece.
Mm-hmm.
And travel.
Okay, great. And Mimi, did you get a chance to express, or did you want to? I'm going to unmute you.
I have more focus on. I'm very spiritually focused, so my goal is always to remain centered and in alignment wherever I am, whoever I'm with, which is a challenge. And I always want to be happy wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, which is something that takes a lot of focus. And the outer things are not such a big focus for me as the inner, how I feel inside and how I go about living every day, focusing on being happy by myself, with myself, and with somebody else. If there happens to be someone else at the time, to be happy wherever I am. It's sort of my only focus, and everything else comes from that.
Good.
I mean, we want all these things because we think it's going to make us happy. So we could just be happy in the first place. That's my focus, just to be happy and have a good life, enjoy everything that I can, and absorb all this stuff that I'm learning with CSD and the other philosophies that I
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the room. So we're going to head back to the main session. And mute myself.
Okay, we're back.
All right, we're back. All right. Yeah, no, that was good. I hopped into each session, so I got a chance to hear some of the things that people said. And so this exercise, Pastor Greg brought up to me, and I had heard of it before. It is actually something that Warren Buffett gave to his pilot. And what he had him do is he had him write down his top 25 things that he wanted to accomplish in life. Like, what are those things that I don't want to leave the planet before I do these things? And then he said, okay, I want you to pick 5. You can't have all 25, just pick 5. And so that was the exercise. But this, I think, is the key part. Nas said, awesome exercise, love the breakout rooms. Cool, good. Is that now what you have to do is to create a not to do list. Because the mind can't process infinite things. And so you have to drill down so that you can actually get something accomplished. That when we're talking about clarity of thought, that you have to focus the mind long enough for one of what things that you want to actually materialize into expression. In the absence of that, the mind is just scattered and you end up with like half-baked demonstration. So you got your top 5. Now what you have is your top 20 to not do. These are the things that could catch your interest, but should not catch your interest if you want to succeed, if you want to reach the things that are on your list. Pastor Greg, do you want to say anything about that? Because I thought that was powerful, and I loved it when you suggested it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is my favorite part, right? Because we list 25 things. All of these things are things that we're interested in, right? These are things that you want to do. These are things that are good things to do. They excite you at some level. But once you've narrowed it down to the 5, what Warren Buffett said to his pilot was, everything else on that list is your not do list. Because if you turn your attention to the other 20 things, how can you create, manifest, and experience the 5? And so he says, until you experience the 5, when you manifest one of those things, cross it off. Now pull one from your not do list onto the to do list. But all of that other stuff has now become a distraction. Yes, I know it's nice. Yes, I know it's good. Yes, I know you like it. Yes, I know it's something you want to do, but it is now a distraction.
Yes. And I think that probably explains why so many things don't work out in our experience. It's not that we can't get them done. It's that it's like shiny object syndrome. And
yes,
it's the stuff that we like. It's the stuff that we're interested in. I'm very interested in doing something about police brutality. I am sick and tired of what's happening with cops around the U.S. And I started walking down a road where I was working with a cop who teaches mindfulness. And I was looking at, let me start some meditation sessions with the community and the cops. And, it was, we're going to meditate together.
Yeah.
And then it was like, girl, you got a church to build. I mean, you can,
right.
Eventually you can have both, but today you got to pick one. Today you got to pick one. And so you have to be mindful of the things that speak to your heart but pull you off your purpose.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. You reminded me of an experience I had and why I love this process that we have 5 things. Because, sometimes we want to say narrow it down to one thing and that gets really hard. So we have 5 things, which helps. I remember when Pastor Yolanda and I were visioning and creating CSC, at the same time I was preparing a Kickstarter for my 2nd album. And I was really concerned that as we were creating CSC, I couldn't keep my attention on both. And I was creating this story that Yolanda was going to be mad at me, like, why is he over there doing that? Well, we supposed to be creating this, right? She wasn't thinking any of those things, but this was all me and my story. Long story short, guess what happened, right? CSC happened, but the Kickstarter, I didn't raise the funds that I wanted to raise because I was in this belief of, one or the other. So I love this idea of having 5 things, which satisfies that idea that we want a little variety, right? But those other 20 things, that's the not do list.
The not do list.
Yeah.
And so when it comes up, you know what to say no to.
Exactly.
And Cayenne says, yes, pick one thing hasn't worked for me at all. It hasn't worked for anybody.
Nope.
Even the people who say it worked for them, if you actually drill down in their lives, you find something else there.
Exactly.
Because the soul needs that variety. Variety is a soul need.
Yeah.
What we need is discipline to not be over varietized.
Absolutely.
The last piece I want to talk about is questions. And I want to talk about the power of questions to generate interest. So I threw this to you, Pastor Greg. I don't know if you had any responses to it, but I'm just going to throw it and then open it up for a conversation. What is the value and purpose of a question?
Well, there's a couple things. Now, one, what I love is the principle, right? That if a question exists, the answer exists, right? Because of duality. Question exists and answer exists. So this is powerful because we can ask empowering and powerful questions and receive empowering and powerful answers. Right? I love how Mary Manning Morrissey talks about, you can ask yourself, how can I make it to the end of the week, right, financially? Or how can I make it to the end of the week and go to Paris for 3 months, right? Every question has an answer, right? So the power of questions is this beautiful thing where all of a sudden now we're receptive to answers, which exist. But we don't get the answer if we don't ask the question.
I love that. Yes, I needed to pass the plate right there. No, I love that every question has an answer. The question is, are you bold enough to ask the question?
There it is.
And we ask small questions so we get small answers.
There you go.
And if we would just be willing to ask a bigger question. Incidentally, that's partly why I'm going to Tony Robbins, is that I am putting myself in an environment that demands that I ask a bigger question.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
The only way to get it out is I got to ask a bigger question.
Yeah.
So then how then do questions generate interest?
Well, it kind of goes back to that curiosity thing. I love this is Abraham Hicks talks about a process of wouldn't it be nice if, right? And so that kind of idea of, would it be nice if I could, spend half of the year in Jamaica and the other half of the year wherever else? And, wouldn't it be nice if I could, I don't know, go to France and learn how to cook and not just go to local cooking school, right? Wouldn't it be nice if? Another question that just opens up possibility, right? Opens up possibility. And the more you play around with that, because by law, right, with imagination, thought attracts thought. So as soon as you start thinking in that direction, you're going to start to attract and create a snowball effect of bigger and bigger questions, and your imagination begins to expand. All of a sudden, you're living in that idea. And once you're living in that idea, oh my goodness, it's done, right? It's done.
I love that. I love that. So questions help you live in the idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm living in the idea of Bentley. Like,
yes,
we got a car culture out here. I know y'all don't have that in New York. But we got a car culture out here.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Okay, great. So can questions help me get clear? And if so, how? Or how, maybe back up. How do I use questions? We talked about that simplicity of thought. How do I use questions to get me to that simplicity of thought?
Well, the first thing that comes to me when I'm thinking about questions that can lead to clarity, and this is also going back to kind of awareness, which we've been talking about, is, so often we don't question the thoughts that aren't beneficial to us. And we can always tell that because of there's a friction and strain that we can start to feel even when, for instance, so as we were just talking about choosing one thing versus 5 things. Now, for some of us in certain areas, or I should say, some folks that may be listening right now, please don't go out and say, Reverend Sherry and Pastor Greg told me I could do 5 things at the same time. Meanwhile, you're stressed out, you're tired, your kids are asking when you're going to come home. You look disheveled, et cetera, right? So asking questions, right? And I can say that because I've lived it, right? So, right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at being able to, I think we can ask it those questions like, wait, am I in joy right now? Like, yes, I can have 5 things and I can pursue 5 things, but am I in joy? Am I happy, right? Am I stressed out, right? Or do I feel like I'm trying to catch up or I'm constantly disappointing people? Tapping in with those questions and then being real, it's like, wait, yeah, I am stressed out. Okay, what can I let go of, right? There again, bringing us back to simplicity, because, I believe that when we're truly creating from spirit and from an inspired idea, one, it comes with everything that it needs for that thing to be fulfilled. And also it comes with ease and effortlessness. It comes with a level of flow. And so I know right away when that flow is not happening, I know that I've made an agreement with struggle. I know that I've made some agreement along the way, usually for sacrifice, right? Where I said, oh, I can just muscle through this. Oh, I can just do this. Oh, I'll be all right. It never plays out. It never plays out well for me when I do those things. And so then I have to be courageous enough to say, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to press pause on this, or I need to renegotiate this thing, right? Or I need to, wait until I accomplish other things, or reevaluate what's more important. All of those types of questions can be very helpful. And a lot of times, again, the pain is the feedback that lets us know it's time to ask new questions.
Right. I love that. Now it says recalibrating.
Yes, perfect word.
Pastor Greg, this was so awesome. I
fun.
gotta hang out with you more.
Yes.
I gotta have you come back to the Bible Hangout.
Of course.
Is awesome, especially because I need that Pentecostal background. I know there's like a couple passages that we can just drill down.
Oh yeah.
And just have an entire meal. Okay. Any closing thoughts? I want to throw that also out to Reverend Cherie, who is on the line. Any closing thoughts?
Well, one, I highly encourage that everybody go to this chapter. This chapter on universal polarity is so delicious. It's so good, right? And understanding this idea of thinking and feeling, right? The thought is inevitable. We're always thinking, right? The thought is inevitable. And we recognize, as Napoleon Hill says, I quote him all the time, only those thoughts which have been emotionalized, mixed with faith, can actually then begin to produce. So we must emotionalize our thought through our feeling nature. Reverend Ike says, tell your feelings how to feel.
Tell your feelings how to feel, yes.
So we get interested. And as we get interested, that interest and that curiosity, that's what then builds into joy, into happiness, into excitement. But know that you don't have to start there. It just starts with interest. And there's a zillion ways to get interested. You can watch something on PBS, right? A documentary about it. You can get a book. You can ask someone who may be experiencing or in that field. All of these things are turning your attention in the direction. And of course, that reminds me of Thoreau, right? If one advances confidently in the direction of his or her dreams and endeavors to live the life that they've imagined, that's choice, imagination, and surrender. When we do those things, then you will meet with a success, uncommon, right? And live with the license of a higher order of beings and angels. It's real, but only when we do those things.
Absolutely. Reverend Cherie, you there? Reverend Cherie. While I'm waiting for her to unmute herself, John had an excellent question, is how worked up do your emotions have to be? And if you go back to what he says in the book, and Pastor Greg said this earlier, is that it's not about working up your emotions. In fact, he has a line, he was like, whatever came from excitement except apoplexy. And I went and looked up apoplexy, and it's like a stroke. God, dog, Emmet. So this is not about outer excitement. What this is about is interest. And so if you think about the things that you are interested in. So for example, I am really interested in the findings of neuroscience. So and if ever there's like some video on from Joe Dispenza or Bruce Lipton or some of these guys that are in the Stoic movement, if you will, the rebirth of the Stoicism, they are very, very dialed in. They're all talking about flow states or whatever. And I'm thinking, hey guys, did you know we were over here? So anyway, but I'm very interested in that. So I'm always dialing into that. So, but I'm not necessarily like over the top emotional, but I'm deeply interested in it, so that every time a video comes up or a book comes out, I just finished John Assaraf's Inner Size. He has a new company called NeuroGym that is all about, it basically is like what we teach, but without the Bible. So I'm deeply interested in those things. So it's not about being worked up emotionally.
And the last thing to that question, unfortunately, we have a lot of folks within our New Thought circles that are, fake happy, right? Because we think that's how we're supposed to, oh, I'm so joyful, right? And it's fake happy because we think we have to be in this overworked state, and that's not how it works.
You almost got a Holy Ghost dance on that one. Come on. Yes. Reverend Cherie, I'm not hearing you, so maybe you have already signed off. Reverend Cherie is headed to Singapore. The fabulous job that she has. I'm so excited for her.
Oh, beautiful.
Myra's hand is raised. Yes, Myra, come on in.
That fake happy. I love that. We are so caught up in all of the jargon and all of that other stuff. And work. Ooh, that's it for me.
Real.
Yes. No fake happy. No fake happy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. You know, Greg, I realized because I opened my iPad, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't read his bio. So there are many people on here from CSC. Thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you for showing up.
Yes. But I just want to share, for those of you that are not familiar with Pastor Greg, to give you a little bit about him. He is the co-founder and co-pastor of Celebration Spiritual Center in Brooklyn, New York. He is a fourth-generation ordained interfaith minister. He's a recording artist, a musician, a composer, a life coach, an author, and an entrepreneur. And at the age of 5, he wrote his first gospel song, Come to Heaven With Me. And today his music is sung by choirs and churches across the globe. He is the creator of 90 Days to Greatness. Where do they get information on that? 90 Days?
You at celebrationsc.org. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, great. All right. So celebration
S as in spiritual, C as in center.org.
Okay, celebrationsc.org. So go there and look up information on 90 Days to Greatness. Is enrollment always open? Like, is it?
No. Yeah, the next round will start in April, and we're going to be studying Joe Dispenza. Healthy Mind, Healthy Body is the class, and we're going to be using Joe Dispenza's "You're the Placebo." Yeah.
Beautiful. So this is what these classes are for, and they're designed to support people who want to use spiritual and metaphysical principles to create and live their greatest lives without becoming a monk or retreating from daily life. Basically, you want to be in the world but not of the world. This class is for you. And so he uses tools that have helped him achieve mastery in his own life, like vision mantras and the manifestation equation. And so students have manifested hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've released weight. They've married their soulmates. They found inner peace. They've started new businesses. They've increased business profits, and they found a greater sense of well-being. He's also a dedicated practitioner of transcendental meditation, and he is a tireless advocate of this practice that promotes personal health and well-being, but it also cultivates global healing and world peace. Yeah. And in the private sector, because he's going to show me how to do those Instagram stories. I'm signing up for an Instagram coaching session. Cool. In the private sector, he has spent 20 years serving in Macintosh support and IT management, and he is currently the senior IT manager for Witness, which is a global human rights organization founded by musician Peter Gabriel and is based in Brooklyn. You can see, and I've been seeing the clips for it for your appearance on the Dr. Oz show.
Yeah.
Yes. And he is. Go ahead,
I was gonna say those clips are they're all over social media. We've been resharing them over the past week. So yeah.
Good. Okay, go there. She is. Hi, Reverend Cherie.
My phone didn't enjoy Zoom, so I had to get in from my computer. What's up, Greg?
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I saw you killing it on Dr. Oz. The best part of it was that nobody was ready for you. Like,
oh no.
So they were looking for, I felt like a little Jerry Springer thing going on with the it's like the fundamental truth, the ease, the poise, all of that was just it was such a New Thought brand. Like you were the brand of it. I was so proud. And I don't even watch Dr. Oz, but
yeah, me either. But I took the call and it was awesome. So.
Yeah, it was totally awesome. What a weird topic, but it was it was great. I'm glad that who would know what would happen if you did not maintain the calm peace of your soul.
Exactly.
Because I think you would have been fighting. I think he wanted to fight you.
Oh, he did. He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, seriously.
But I wanted to give you props because it is it's not easy sometimes to hold the truth when someone is so emotionally exploding in your face, and it's like when we talk about our 5 rights, that right reaction, that you are responsible for your reaction.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll surrender that right because someone said something or someone did something, but it was, like I said, you were the brand up there,
Oh,
maintaining your peace.
Thank you.
But maintaining the truth. You know what I mean? Like it was really, really awesome. And I know that if there was somebody with a listening ear on that staff, they'd be like, we got to get him back.
Yeah.
We need to let this conversation happen in a different way, because it was powerful.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you caught it. I appreciate that.
Yes,
awesome. So, what Olga said, love it. Thanks for sharing, Reverend Greg. Are we visiting Reverend Greg? It's a 1-hour train ride from Trenton. So new people showing up at CSC.
Oh yes, please
come
on up.
Go God. And Nas says, how do we access? Yes, Olga, make sure you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Nas says, how do we access the Bible Hangout every week? Go to RevSherry.com and sign up on the mailing list.
Awesome.
He says 90 Days to Greatness classes transformed his life.
Beautiful.
And Valerie says 90 Days to Greatness class is absolutely life-changing and practical, not to mention an amazing supportive family.
Yeah.
I think it was Kwame. BK says he's the man, and you can tell that Kwame says so. All right, so yeah, if you tag me on one of the videos so that people in my the Dr. Oz thing, so that people who are attached to me can see it.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Will do.
Okay, yes, and I will post the bio for Pastor Greg.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm just I got all these comments. I'm trying to catch them all. Somebody Kanisha said Pastor Greg did a truth mic drop. I love that. I love my hip hop. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys for tonight. Thank you, Pastor Greg. We're gonna have you back. So every series we're gonna do this way where we study the work and then we focus on the practicality of it. How do we use this in our lives? And so we have to have you back.
Okay. I look forward to it.
I'm pulling you into the Lynn experience too. I'll email you about it.
Okay, perfect. Sending y'all Brooklyn love.
Yes. So listen, guys, it's your Lenten kit. Have we sold out yet? I know we've almost sold out.
I'm down to about 5 or 6, but I made some B kits. I made some. I put together some kits for until our new books come in. So we're get your kit. Let me just say that I'm mailing some more out tomorrow. I have 4 in my bag to mail out, and if I have to stop back by the church, I need to know that in the morning.
Yes. So go on at night to upchurch.org and sign up.
I fly out tomorrow, and then it's gonna be great.
You don't want to wait on me to send you a kit.
I got Team Treasure. Team Treasure is on it, so we'll have your kits to you. But I do have I want to make sure everybody can get in. It's nice to be in on the beginning of things.
It sure is. And Alita said, I sent my money for 2. Hey,
for 2?
For 2, yes. And Kanisha says, can I please have a VIP kit? So anyway, I'm going to wrap this out because we are over and I got to put this child in the bed because he is having a field day with that iPad. I love you. I bless you. I thank you guys for being here. Next week, we'll be back. We'll have Reverend Rowena Silvera Beck, who is a senior minister for Rise Atlanta, another powerhouse that you need to know. And so please come back next Thursday night. We'll be looking at part 3 of the mental equivalent. Good night, everybody.
Powerful. Good night.